Well, hello everyone. Just got some nice new fancy kit here for Comet NEOWISE. This was lent to me very kindly by my good mate Paul Martin, a well-known local photographer here I've been shooting with for years. Met up with Paul there a couple of days ago. He lent me the sky tracker. It was meant to clear that night. Of course, it was clouded out. Clouded out. So I haven't got a chance to use it yet. I'm just going to put the camera on it here. Unfortunately, when I last seen the comet was at the weekend, and it's nearly a week now, and I've been clouded out again for the entire week, so it's really unfortunate the way the weather's working here. But most of the images I've been taking of the comet so far have been with my two DSLRs, the crop sensor and the full frame. I've been using this 100 to 400mm Canon lens. It's at f4.5 to f5.6. As for most of the close-in shots you've seen and time lapses we're taking with it, I've also used a 50mm lens as well on this body for the wider shots. But I want to try out this new technique. This is what's called a sky tracker, or in this case it's a Ioptron sky tracker. As you can see, it has a scope here with a pattern on it, a grid system, and you use this scope to align it precisely with Polaris, the North Star. You have a motor drive on here, you can just hear it. The compass, and you have to make sure to align it up properly. That's the hard part. Level the tripod, secure everything, get a ball head mount on it and attach it to your camera. The idea with a tracker is that normally without the tracker the Earth is rotating. So during long exposures you'll see the stars trailing across the image. And with the case of a comet, that's the same too. The comet will start to trail, become blurred, you start to lose that sharp detail. It was okay for me at this, maybe in the first couple of weeks of the operation of this comet, because the sky background was very bright and the comet was very bright. So I was getting away with shutter speeds with a telephoto lens at night within the range of 1 second to 2.5 for most of the shots. Last week I was starting to get into the 3, 4, 5 second range, because the comet was starting to fade slightly and move into a darker sky, and the moon was waning, so I was able to increase exposure, and as you do so you get the longer trails. But this here has a motor drive in it, a clock drive similar to the clock drives in the telescopes, and this will actually counteract the rotation of the Earth. So it moves at the same time as the rotation of the Earth does, a sidereal rate, the rate the stars across the sky. So in effect this should counteract or stagnate any drift whatsoever, as long as it's polar aligned accurately. And that way I'll be able to take exposures of the comet without any trailing, which in theory should bring out sharper images and more detail. The cool thing is when I was using this technique before with the static camera on the static tripod, in order to get them 400mm close-in shots, I had to put the ISO really high on the full frame camera. ISO 3200, 6400, and one time 12800. Try to keep the shutter speeds nice and short to stop the trailing. Worked very well, and the noise control on the 5D is just remarkable. Anyway, so not an issue whatsoever. But now that I need the longer exposures, I want to counteract that Earth's rotation for a sharper image, and I've actually decided to use my older crop sensor camera instead of the full frame. That's the plan anyway. This crop sensor seems to work very well with this telephoto lens. The stars focus more finer points, so I'm going to try that. The idea is I'm going to lower, instead of using big ISOs and high noise, I'm going to use a lower ISO, say ISO 400 or 800. I'll take longer exposures, say 20 seconds, 30 seconds, even a minute. I can do a minute long and the stars won't trail on the comet. And that way I'll be able to bring out sharper detail and have a better signal to noise ratio. And even better again, I can maybe shoot 10 exposures, 20 exposures, 30 exposures, depending on what I can get away with, and I can stack them in a software program such as Deep Sky Tracker or Sequator. Sequator, by the way, is a great free program. I recommend you download it. It's free. It doesn't take up much room and it's brilliant for stacking star images. And that actually cleans up the high noise as well. If you don't have any issues with noise, I really recommend that. So that's the plan anyway. I'm going to track and I'm going to stack and see what I get. And I'll probably stick to the 100mm focal length this time to pick in more the tail of the comet. I might try a few closer in as well and see how that goes. It should be pretty exciting anyway. The last time I seen the comet I made it out about magnitude 3.5, thereabouts, give or take, in the twilight sky, and my last video you would have seen YouTube was me talking inside the van from a location between Begmore and Dava as I was waiting on the clouds to clear. So I only got one image that night over that fairy tree, which I'll show you right now. That image came out very well. I was happy with that, but it clouded over for the rest of the night, so I never got to experiment in the darker sky. It was only twilight. But now the sky is getting darker now. We're starting to get into later part of July. There's still a twilight glow for us here in Northern Ireland, but it's darkened a little bit. The moon is waning. It's not significant yet, so all the parameters are good. We just need a clear night, and that's been the problem. The weather really has been playing up here for quite a while. But on the next good clear night, and if I can justify, if it has to be a proper clear night to justify setting this up on the line, but if I do, then hopefully I get some really lovely shots. I've always wanted to try attract exposure of a comet. And I'm really liking this bit of tech. I may actually invest in this piece of technology. I think it's outstanding for comet work and close-up Milky Way scenes, so that could be a way to the future. But yeah, pretty cool. I thought I'd show you what I was up to anyway, what I was doing. And hopefully get some clear skies. Maybe Thursday night. If not, then maybe the weekend. There's also been a CME eruption as well from the sun, so there's a small chance of an aurora. I don't have much faith in it, but we'll see closer to the time. But anyway, catch you later.